So good morning. So the topic given is work stress balance. As sir mentioned, it is very important for all of us. Uh, Recently, WHO published a World Mental Health report. So in that report, three areas we have to thrust. One is this workplace mental health, child mental health, and suicide prevention. So all over the world, the stress is increasing. Our coping mechanism is coming down, especially after the pandemic, COVID pandemic, depression, anxiety, all these psychological symptoms are increasing, producing a lot of um, disability and morbidity and even mortality. Suicides are also increased. So the topic is very relevant, and especially for we professionals working in this medical field, it's important for our young graduates, postgraduates. So Dr. Arun will present the topic. I will just introduce Dr. Arun. Actually, there is no need of introducing Arun. He is my colleague and very prominent psychiatrist in Kerala and all over India. Arun, he graduated MBBS from Toronto Medical College 1996, then took his MD Psychiatry from Calicut Medical College. He joined as Assistant Surgeon in Health Services 2008, then joined as Assistant Professor in Psychiatry, Medical College, Alappuzha, then transferred to Toronto. Currently, he is working as an Associate Professor in our department. He is also honorary consultant to Srijit in Medical Science. His many books, more than 18 books, he has published related to psychiatry, general medicine, and a lot of common issues, and conducted more than 2,000 episodes of health and social awareness program in various television channels. His face is very familiar to all of us. The mental health awareness program, he has taken it as a mission and conducted more than 100 All India Radio talks. I think 500 talks and more than 100 episodes, especially for COVID awareness program. He has published many research papers in international and national journals. He is also guest faculty for the Judicial Academy of the High Court of Kerala, IMG Trivandrum, State Institute of Health and Family Welfare. He received several awards, including yesterday the Distinguished Alumnus Award by the our Medical College Alumni Association and University and Government of Kerala. So I congratulate Arun in this special occasion. Other awards including IMA Award, then award by the Rotary, P. Keshavdev Diabetes Screen Award, Manava Seva Redna Puraskar. So many awards and very prominent psychiatrist. So I invite Arun B. Nair to deliver his talk on work stress balance.
Respected Chairpersons, Dr. C.J. John, my respected teacher, Professor Anilkumar TV, respected dignitaries of the dais, and my dear friends. As it was very rightly pointed out, work-stress balance happens to be an extremely relevant issue in the life of a medical professional. And the reason why I am telling this is a couple of recent studies which were published by the Indian Psychiatric Association Journal have pointed out towards significant health morbidity as well as mortality in medical professionals. The average lifespan of a medical professional in India is around 10 years less than that of the common man. The patient is surviving for at least a decade more than the treating physician. That is a reality which we have faced at this point of time. Significant mental health issues, suicides, substance use related problems, psychosomatic disorders, all these plague the life of a medical professional. So in this context, what are the things a young medical graduate or an undergraduate should be aware of when they plan their career ahead for the future? That is the topic for my talk. My sincere gratitude to the Alumni Association for giving me this great opportunity to open this August convention with a talk like this and giving a young person like me this great opportunity. My sincere gratitude. So there are four important issues which we have to face related to work-life balance. Number one is managing something called burnout. What is burnout? What are the characteristics of burnout? How to distinguish burnout from depression or any other psychiatric disorder, we shall discuss subsequently. Second most important thing is time management, because it is said that an average doctor is absolutely haphazard in time management. He has a lot of things to do. He is always busy within inverted commas. He is not available to his family. He is not available to many of his patients also. He is not available for social functions. And even despite all these, he does not have anybody to take care of him when he becomes disabled. That is the reality. Third is managing marriage, family, and parenting. It's a very important issue because we see a lot of issues related to marital discord among doctors, quite a few family problems, and even significantly higher degree of conflict between parent and child, in which children go in deviated, unhealthy paths, get into drug addiction, and finally blame their parents who are medical professionals for not bringing them up and not showing affection during their formative years in life. And again, the fourth most important thing is when to retire from medical practice. That's a huge question, because the fundamental thing is that most of the medical professionals, they are moving in a way in which the only thing they know in life is practicing medicine. They are not competent in doing so many other activities. So once you retire, what can you do in life? You're so bored. You don't have anything to do. And that boredom will take a toll on your mental health as well. So it is said as a joke that many medical professionals continue to practice till the end of their life because they are not competent in doing anything else. Whether it's a reality or not, we shall discuss. So what are the stages of the career of a medical professional? The stages of a medical professional's career starts from the days in which he is preparing for an entrance examination, the undergraduate NEET entrance examination. So as it is very rightly pointed out, just like the quota factory in North, which is breeding a lot of IIT aspirants, we have got significant factories in different parts of our state also, in which a lot of people put in a lot of effort, spend a lot of time, spend 1 year or more than 1 year exclusively for preparing and training for the UG NEET entrance examination. Probably that is the time from which the life of a medical professional or a medical student changes, because you are cut off from many of the realities of your life. You are cut off from your friends. You are cut off from your family. You are supposed to work dedicatedly. Another joke which is usually told is that right from the time you are in the 10th standard, your parents will continuously tell you about milestones in your life. When you reach 10th standard, parents will tell that this is the most important milestone in your life. Once you pass this, life will be wonderful. And once you get into higher secondary, the same story repeats. Till now, life was absolute joy for you. This is the biggest milestone in your life. These 2 years, if you perform well, then life will be absolutely blissful. And if you're lucky enough to crack the medical entrance in the first attempt itself, it's okay for you. But if you have to spend 1 year or more than 1 year in training again in these kind of factories, then comes the next statement. You know, the life till this was absolute enjoyment for you. This 1 year is going to be the real stressor in your life. If you work hard, if you put in earnest effort right now, you will be doing extremely well in your life. So again, once you come to a medical college, what is the situation? Once you come and sit in this auditorium or any other lecture hall, the teachers here, the professors here will tell you that, see, you are part of a noble profession. This first year in your life is very important. This is the biggest milestone of your life. So like that, milestones will keep on coming again and again. I can say that the life of a medical student or a medical professional is an endless array of milestones coming one after the other, and these milestones continue till you reach the grave, probably. So the second phase of life is the life as a medical student. The life as a college student is supposed to be the most wonderful phase of life in anybody's lifetime. So as a student who did undergraduation in Medical College Trivandrum, I look back and have extremely fond memories about this campus. That is exactly the reason why I try to vibe well with students even now. If given a chance, I won't think twice before sitting as a student again in this campus because I have extremely pleasant memories about my campus life. I'm not sure how many of you have the same opinion about your campus life, but it is very important to find out time to enjoy the campus life in a healthy way. Enjoyment is absolutely necessary, but it should not be an unhealthy way in which the methods of enjoyment will take a toll on your own physical and mental health. Other than that, healthy ways of entertainment and enjoyment is something which we have to look for during your time as a medical student. Then you reach internship or house surgency, probably the 1 year in which you strain a lot. You are doing night duties for continuously 24 hours, again 48 hours, if necessary, even more time. So that is a time in which you start helping human beings for the first time continuously as a professional. You learn a lot of things from your experience as a house surgeon, but of course, you know, half of the mind will be focusing on how to crack the next postgraduate NEET exam or how to get an admission to a prestigious medical school abroad. So half the mind will be there, rest of the half you'll be trying to focus on what you are doing to the patient who is under your care. Then you become a resident. A residency system in different parts of the world have got different structures and patterns, but dedicated effort is absolutely important when you are doing residency. So there is a phenomenon called peaking at the right time in the life of any professional. It is most important in the life of a medical professional. Imagine the situation in which you become a consultant. You have got so many gold medals and ranks in your undergraduate and postgraduate career. Can you sit in your consultation room displaying all these gold medals in the background when you're seeing a patient? Is it possible? Is it fair? Is it of any consequence for the patient who is coming for your attention, whether you have got gold medals or ranks or anything? So what does a patient expect from a doctor? There are only two simple things which a patient is expecting from a doctor. Number one, the doctor should behave well. The doctor's demeanor and attitude and words and expressions should be giving a calming or soothing effect to the patient. And number two, the doctor should be professionally competent to diagnose and treat the illness. These are the two things which are consequential to a patient. Whether you are the biggest scholar in the subject, whether you are revered at an academic level, whether you have got laurels or whether you have won the Nobel Prize, it is absolutely inconsequential from a patient's point of view. So that is another very important thing we have to internalize. So peaking at the right time means when you select a subject of your preference for post-graduation, you will have to put in maximum effort so that you become a real expert or a master in that field. So this phenomenon is called joyful mastery. You should be happy in practicing your profession. You should be perfect in the practice of your profession. And by this mastery, you should be able to deliver best results to the patient who is coming for your treatment. So that is joyful mastery for you. So after the residency phase of your life, you become a consultant. The area in which you work, you can choose depending upon your life scenarios. Certain people may prefer to work abroad. Certain people remain in India because of love for the nation or because they want to work in the institution in which they did their undergraduation or post-graduation. Some others prefer to remain in India because they have to take care of their elderly parents. This prioritization in life becomes very important when you choose where you need to practice in life. That is an extremely important thing we shall discuss later. And once you become a consultant, you establish yourself, you reach a certain pedestal in life as a professional, then comes the phase of boredom. When the activities you do become monotonously repetitive, you go to the hospital in the morning, see the same kind of patients continuously till evening, the same prescriptions, the same pattern of medicines, there is nothing challenging for you, there is no variety in your life. So that is exactly where you will have to challenge yourself, you will have to challenge your limits, you will have to discover variety in your profession, and you should try to find out happiness in your profession. So these are the stages of the career of a medical professional. So what are the important hindrances in this? Number one is burnout. And what is burnout? Burnout is a stage in which you work too hard, extremely hard, to such an extent that you no longer enjoy the process of working. You become angry, you become depressed, you have difficulty in concentrating, your mind is not where you are sitting. You may be talking to a patient, but your mind is wandering away somewhere else. So many other things are disturbing you. You are not focused on your work. You don't enjoy the process of doing work. When you become like this, the next stage is you think about methods to avoid work, how not to go to the hospital. You may take leave from the hospital, or you may not just report to the hospital at all. You may be absent from work. And even if you are physically present, you may be psychologically absent. So that is this phenomenon which is happening as a classical example of burnout. You may be physically present in the hospital, you are sitting in front of the patient, you are talking to the patient, but your mind is not at all there. You feel tired throughout the day, you are lethargic, you have lack of energy, your sleep is deprived, and you sleep during the daytime sitting in front of the patient even. And to overcome this kind of monotonous, depressing situation, you may resort to the use of alcohol, drugs, you may resort to digital addictions and behavioral addictions. And these behavioral addictions can include anything ranging from extramarital relationships to risky, unhealthy financial investments. All these can trouble the life of a medical professional. How to manage burnout? Methods to manage burnout is to take care of yourself. Remember, your most important possession is yourself. It is your prime responsibility to take care of your health, to get adequate rest, to enjoy your life in such a way that you don't get bored of what you're doing as a professional. Learn to say no. That is the art of assertiveness. We talk about assertiveness to medical students right from the time they come as first year students to this college. Assertiveness is the art of saying no. If you think that you're taking up much more than you can chew, you always have the freedom to say no. You can say that I can work only up to this level. I can work only up to this time. I can take only up to this many number of patients per day. There is a stage in your career and your life where you have to put that kind of a boundary in your work. So don't develop what you call the God complex. God complex is something which was attributed to doctors during the Esther years, in which doctors used to work right from morning, even at midnight. They don't sleep. They come and attend calls in the hospital, even at God-forsaken hours in the morning. And still, after taking the night calls, they used to report at the hospital at exactly 8 a.m. in the morning. They were supposed to be gods, literally gods. But don't take yourself too seriously in that way. You're just a mortal, average human being who has the organs and disabilities of any other person in the world. So take care of yourself. Learn to say no. If you think that your working hours should be stipulated up to a certain extent, plan accordingly. If you cannot take more patients than a particular number, say so to the hospital management. And that is very important. And you should have a very fulfilling extra professional life. Some hobbies, some social activities, something which is absolutely interesting to your life. So the two gentlemen who are sitting as chairpersons here are real life examples to fulfilling extra professional life. Dr. C.J. John is a celebrated writer. He's doing a lot of social activities and interventions related to mental health. And Dr. Anilkumar TV is a person who is always in the society, engaging with government departments, NGOs, and a whole lot of other things to transmit the knowledge and technology he has imbibed during the course of his education to the general public at large. We have got very celebrated people in the audience also who have done this very successfully. But this fulfilling life should be an extra professional life. It should not be an extra marital life. Take care of that. Again, cut the routine work time. You work for 8 hours a day for first 10 years of your career. You have become financially stable. You have identified the areas of your interest. You have developed expertise in niche areas of your specialty. You wish to pursue only those areas in future. Of course, you can afford to. You can cut short your working hours to 7 hours or 6 hours. If you have productive engagement otherwise, you can always afford to cut down your working time as you grow older in life. And most importantly, you should have a very strong support system. You should have different groups of friends. Remember, social connectivity is the most important thing which is going to support you and help you when you are in a crisis. I tell to medical students that there should be at least 5 different groups of friends around you. You should have some friends in college. You should have some friends among your school classmates with whom you are in contact through social media. You should have a handful of friends among your neighbors, a couple of friends among your relatives, and maybe a few friends who you come across when you go for some extracurricular or cultural competitions like that. So these different groups of friends who are not essentially interrelated should be there around you. The reason why you should have these is whenever you come across a crisis in life, these great friends can provide emotional support to you. If due to any reason you fight with your classmates allege that you have done something which is unpardonable, but actually you haven't done like that, they refuse to believe you. If you don't have any other groups of friends, you'll be brooding over this event after reaching home. You'll be thinking, is it my fault or is it their fault? If you think that it is your fault, you will feel like killing yourself. If you think that it is their fault, you will feel like murdering them. Both are unhealthy traits. But if you have got a good friend in the neighborhood, you can go out and stroll in the evening. You meet this great friend of yours, you have a chat for 5 minutes, your mind is absolutely relieved. You realize that even though my classmates, my colleagues in my college don't want me, there are other people who regard me positively. There is a meaning in my life, and there are people who support me. This realization is extremely important. So select your friends properly, connect with them, and even after you grow old, once you become a professional, we have got certain batches in Trivandrum Medical College itself, especially the 1965 batch, the batch of late Professor Joy Philip. They used to meet once in 3 months very regularly after they had established. Once in 2 months. Once in 2 months very regularly. That is something which I learned from many of my teachers who are part of that batch. And what is the advantage of meeting your old friends once you become a professional? Once you become a professional, once you are respected by the society, you develop a strange sense of ego, arrogance, and haughtiness. You take yourself too seriously. You feel that you are a celebrity. You are a very important person who has got control over the life of others. But if you meet with your own batchmates who used to see you as, incompetent or very naive individuals in college, എടാബോടാ വിളിക്കുന്ന തരത്തിലുള്ള ഒരു ബന്ധം ഉള്ള ആൾക്കാരെ ഒന്ന് കാണുമ്പോൾ നിങ്ങളുടെ ഈ ആകാശമുട്ട ഉയരുന്ന ഈഗോ ഒന്ന് കുറയാൻ അത് സഹായകമായേക്കും. Because you think that you are a celebrity, but next day you go and meet your batchmates, they don't respect you at all. They'll call you by the nickname. And you can realize that this is life, this is another phase of life. You need not take yourself too seriously. That keeps you grounded. That is one exercise which you can practice even after you pass out. Exercise, that is another important aspect which the doctors are very much lacking. It is very difficult for doctors to find out time for exercising. That is what many consultants tell me. You can always find out a time for exercising if you have the will to do so. For example, as much as possible, I try to walk to this college and go back from this college walking whenever there is an opportunity. That is my way of exercising. There are other people who have set their own gymnasiums in their home and they work out regularly. So whatever be your pattern of exercise, dedicate at least 30 minutes to 45 minutes per day for physical activity. This exercise, preferably it should be with exposure to sunlight. It can give a lot of advantages. It can increase the level of dopamine in your brain, which will improve your concentration. It can increase the level of endorphins in the brain, giving you a sense of well-being and happiness. It can increase the blood flow to the brain, making you energetic. And it can increase vitamin D in your bloodstream, making you much better as a healthy person. Time management is another very important thing. Time is the most precious commodity at your disposal. It is the most important resource in your life, and it is something which is not storable. We cannot save the time and use it later, because something which you have to do as a young person has to be done at this stage of life. You cannot do that 20 years later once you become a middle-aged person. So what's the difference between being busy and being efficient? So there are two terminologies, effectiveness and efficiency. Effectiveness means doing things correctly, and efficiency means doing the right things correctly. So prioritize what you are supposed to do, fix your priorities, and allot time for each one of that. You are supposed to manage crisis situations, medical emergencies, preparations for exams, deadline-driven projects, and pressing matters. These are the things which should be given utmost priority in your life. You should focus on certain other things: preparation related to your work, planning for the next day, preventing crisis situations. Maybe spending a couple of minutes with the bystander of a patient can prevent or abort a crisis in your professional life. You may be busy running for something else when a bystander is coming and asking an important doubt about the patient. You may not have the time for that. You may run and show that you are busy in front of the person. If, God forbid, anything bad happens to the patient, this bystander is very likely to take you to task. So spending a couple of minutes there and explaining to the bystander the reality of the patient's life is something which can save your life. It can abort a crisis in your life. So these things need to be prioritized. Clarification of values, building of relationships, exercise, and spending time for recreation, all these are extremely important in your life. There are certain things to be avoided. Interruptions. When you're practicing as a professional, when you're seeing a patient, attending inconsequential calls, continuously looking at the monitor of your mobile, chatting in social media, these are certain things which should be avoided. Absolute dedication to the patient in front of you, that should be the rule. Even though it is very practically difficult, as much as possible you can do. If you find it very difficult because a lot of other patients are communicating to you concurrently, you can appoint somebody else, a junior doctor or a secretary or whoever it is, to manage these social media activities, and you should remain absolutely dedicated to the patient. Don't take up too many assignments on the same day. You're supposed to see 50 patients, go and attend 3 meetings, and go to the periphery to give a couple of public talks. All these cannot be jam-packed into your schedule. It is very unhealthy. So prioritize what is most important and select only what needs to be done. And there are certain things which can be called as time wasters in your life. Spending too much time on mobile phone, especially arguments in social media, which may relate to political, religious, spiritual matters. There may be questions which don't have an absolutely scientific answer, but you are fighting with somebody in the social media for something you are very convinced about, but you are unable to convince the other person. This argument goes on endlessly till late at night. It spoils your sleep. It ruins the quality of your life. So when to withdraw from social media debates, that's a very important skill which we should master. Next most important phase in life, marriage. A professional, a doctor who is a workaholic, perfectionist, and a compulsive person is likely to be an extremely poor spouse, because he will not have any time for the spouse, but he'll find time to criticize the spouse, make fun of the spouse, and pressurize the spouse. And these are certain situations which can predispose to infidelity. When a person is very dissatisfied in his marriage, they'll stray in marriage, they'll go to other relationships. Boredom, financial issues, and career crisis are certain other things which affect the life and quality of life. So in marriage, certain important things to be followed is spend time with your spouse, respect your spouse, have fun with your spouse, treat your spouse as the most important person of your life. This is something which I want each and every one of you to take home. Treat your spouse as the most important person of your life, because a loved spouse, a spouse who is receiving the affection of the partner, is likely to be a loving spouse. And parenting, when you are taking care of your children, at least spend 1 meal per day with your kids. Spend at least half an hour of quality time with your kids. Go for outing at least once in a week with your kids. Go for a holiday for a few days. Take a break from your profession at least once in a year. And you should ensure that your children should meet significant people in your family, the grandparents, the relatives. Ensure that they go for social functions and family functions. They are connected within the family and to others. And kids should also develop the habit of honoring family traditions. I come to the last part of my presentation. When should you retire from your profession? There are certain things to be taken into consideration. Number one, your health. If you feel that your health is failing, it's time to retire. Number two, what would you do after retirement? If you think that you have got significant other things to do after your retirement, like hobbies or any other engagements which gives you happiness, then you can retire. If you are financially sound, definitely it's time for retirement. So whether you plan to stay with your children or not, that is another very important priority, because these days the children may not be very interested in focusing on you. The focus is always on the next generation. So whether you want to burden your children or not is a very important thing to be taken. And how to plan the management of your own health problems, whether you have taken a health insurance, whether you have got the sufficient support system to take care of your health problems, that is also a very important thing. So I'll wind up my talk with the 10 commandments for work-life balance of a doctor. Number one, you shall not expect someone else to reduce your stress. You should be responsible for reducing your stress. You should not resist change. Change is something which is absolutely permanent. Changes happen, adapt to change. Changes in technology, changes in values, changes in traditions, changes in relationships. You should not take yourself in vain. Don't neglect yourself. Take care of your health. Take care of your mental health. Remember what is most important for you and prioritize things accordingly. Understand your limitations and honor your limitations. Don't work alone. Be connected. Connect with other people and work as a team. And you should not kill others and you should not kill yourself. If you feel that you are stressed, seek professional help. You should not work too hard, but work smarter. Improve the efficiency of your work, deliver maximum in the limited period of time that is available. Find joy and mastery in your work and peak at the right time. And a doctor, a medical professional should be a lifelong learner. The learning process, which starts right from the first day of medical school, should continue till the last day of your life. My sincere gratitude to the organizers again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Arun Nair. That is an excellent presentation, very thought-provoking, and I suppose everybody will take the message he was trying to convey. Once a patient asked me, will you be able to see me on a Sunday? I said, it is very difficult because then he again repeated. Then I told him, will you kindly find a good psychiatrist and tell his name? He was taken aback. I said, if I start seeing people on Sunday, I will have to arrange a psychiatrist for my wife. So please suggest a psychiatrist. And he understood. Sir, I understand. I think you also should need family life, family time. And that's probably one of the key issues in work-life balance. Well, when the youngsters start practicing, you will have to choke out what is the priority in your life. Earn lot of money, earn lot of fame, or earn the satisfaction and joy of practice without losing your peace of mind and without losing your well-being. That's very important. You will have to prioritize. If you are running for a lot of money, you are running for a lot of fame, probably you will have to compromise on so many other things. Another important thing doctors neglect, which probably Arun did not emphasize, is that doctors do not take care of their health properly. We have had our own colleagues who were detected to have cardiac illness for the first time when they had chest pain, not bothering for any checkups, even a BP checkup. So that's also important to avoid stress. I think doctors have to take care of their health. Another important thing that may corrupt your well-being is midlife crisis. Doctors are known for midlife crisis. Joy Phillips sir, there is a regular meet. one of the problems, side effects of this meeting is that some doctors have a nasty business to sort of compare our own achievements with somebody's achievement. We can only be what we are. So avoid midlife crisis by comparing. And the last thing I want to emphasize most is that, look, all of you have certain aptitudes. All of you have some skills. I saw the students passionately putting the color. The artistic instincts are there. Never let your medical profession take away those things, because you need these things to be expressed while you are in practice to de-stress, to strike a balance. Arun was saying, I used to write, Sudarshan and Vanikar used to know, I used to write plays, and my play was published in Madhurumi Vishupati during my student days. I never let that skill die. In fact, I had the good opportunity, even as a professional, to work with Tilagan, N.F. Verghese in radio play thing, and I have won national awards in radio play making without making my practice suffer. So, everybody who has some sort of a skill, some sort of a talent, do not let it die. Nurture it, express it, so that you will make your profession more enjoyable and happy. So, thank you. Is there time for questions? I think it's just an oration, isn't it? With these words, I thank Trivandrum Alumni Association for bringing this topic to limelight. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Such an eye-opener session, sir. We now request the chairpersons to felicitate our speaker, Dr. Arun B. Nair, sir. Sir, please.